Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this video will be about a different topic relative to the ones I've posted before. And the reason to bring up this topic is that I believe this is a very current issue these days, as an increasing number of people are currently struggling with loneliness. And so we all know that there are many causes for this, such as addiction, lack of connection with surrounding communities, could be there also loss of significant others. And as a result of this, many of these people accept the reality, this reality, and try to fend for themselves the best way they can. In other words, many people today rely solely on their own devices in whatever situation they find themselves in, and also regardless of how uncertain and complex these situations are. And so, on the other hand, I was also recently asked on LinkedIn if I could provide some tips on how to be more self-reliant during times of uncertainty. And so in this video, I'm addressing this topic and sharing the key points of my answer to this particular person, as I'm confident that this might also benefit quite a lot of people out there who follow me or in some way find this video on YouTube. And so at the time before I gave my answer, I tried to understand the context of the situation the person was referring to, so that I could be, I would say, a little bit more specific. But apparently there was no particular context, and so my answer ends up being a little bit more applicable to a wider range of situations, and so by by extension to probably much more viewers of this video. And so to make it clear before everything before anything else, I believe that self-reliance is, I would say, an approach in life that we should only strive to achieve if we really are in a position in which there was no one else or nothing else to rely on. All right. And so this is because in many ways we will never be able to know or to control everything around us to an extent that will make us succeed by being completely self-reliant. And so even beyond that, our survival as a living species throughout our existence, or I should say throughout the past millennia, as well as our dominance over everything else around us, has only been possible if because we are the most cooperative species on Earth. This is a true fact, and of course, we can all attest to that. And so, and that fact, for me, it's quite clear that in prehistoric times, uh, when any attempt to become self-reliant by any particular individual would mean premature demise. And so the person a few millennia ago would not be able to survive by living on its own. It would always require the cooperation and the help from someone else or a group of other people. And so with this in mind, if I find myself facing uncertainty and I'm left to my own devices, basically what I try to do the first thing is to get as much as information as possible about the situation, and if I have the time, try to contemplate the various ways to proceed and let them basically mature in my mind. I like to say that I like to sleep over specific topics, because by sleeping over it, sometimes you get a better understanding of the situation. You see things through a different perspective than what when you approach them for the first time. And so this is something that I like to do, of course, if I have the time to do it. And but this must be clear. I'm always aware that I will never be able to get all the information needed to entirely remove the uncertainty out of the decision. And also, and this is a point in which I cannot emphasize enough, is that I know that I will have to make a decision at some point in time, even if this decision is not reversible in the future. And so in this aspect, I'm a strong believer that if we do nothing and get caught up in the so-called paralysis analysis situation, I would say that one of two things will happen. The first one is that either someone else will make that decision for us, and it may not be necessarily to our benefit. And number two, we are simply giving away any power we may still have to the randomness of life. And in this case, things can either turn out very well for us or very badly for us, or somewhere in between. And so we never know. But in this context, I think the best example that I can give you is the time when I was wondering, for example, whether I should move abroad or I should stay and continue and carry on with my life in my home country in Portugal. And so, in my mind, the prospect of leaving everything I ever knew behind me was a very, very significant change that could turn out to be either very bad or very good for me. I must confess that at the time I thought that about this for a very, very long time. But in the end, the decisive factor for me was actually the situation that I was at the time, in which I was not happy. I was not happy with my situation back then. And also, and this is super important, I don't think I would ever be able to live with a question of what could have been there for me if I gave up on it and decided to stay. And so I must say, looking back, and since I moved abroad, it's been almost 3 years. Even though I've been alone without family or friends around, on one hand, I must say, yes, of course, I faced a lot of uncertainty. But on the other hand, I've also been able to meet many people that ended up helping me during this time. And sometimes even more than they ever realized. And so, in this context, there's a saying that fortune protects the bold, if I say it correctly. And so, I must say that I was certainly bold in my decision, but I must also come to terms with the fact that several key moments in time I was very lucky, and especially because either some people or some opportunities came around just at the right time. And so looking back, uh, of course, this is in a completely against what I thought when I was younger. But because of when I was younger, I believe that being self-reliant really meant being free and independent from everything and everyone else. But now, yeah, at this day and age, I'm sure that there is no such thing. We can definitely become independent, but only up to a certain extent, because eventually there will be key moments in time in which we will need something or somebody to be there for us. We will need that assistance, or that a particular situation happens for us to be better and to be able to continue with our lives. And so, in my view, at 38 years old already, yeah, this for me, this is an unavoidable reality. There is no such thing as being completely self-reliant. We always need some people or some things to be there for us at key moments. Otherwise, yeah, we will be in a very, very precarious situation. And so, in any case, let me know what you think of this. I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to this issue, and so feel free to leave your comments below and like the video and subscribe. As you know, also I'm also within reach through LinkedIn, so feel free to drop me a message if you have any questions. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, mate.